Okay, so Frank Jeff, whose name online is Rattlenash, has just asked if I could record how I've been stripping assets out of various PDFs. I've got a couple of ways to do it. Some of them are more elegant than others, and they're all very much dependent on how the PDF is set up in the first place. Really big point, if the PDF, and I'll use, is this emissary lost? It'll do. It's RM secret. In RM secret, if I go to properties, in this particular case, and I go to security, it's password protected, and most importantly, page extraction is not allowed. So the Photoshop approach that I'm going to use literally doesn't work unless I have the password. Just a small touch on copyright. I only use this for personal use. I'm only using it in my Foundry server, and let's face it, I would be cutting and pasting anyway, and indeed that's what I'm going to do if I run RM secret. So that's my logic. I don't share the files with anyone. I'm just showing you how to do it for the assets that you've purchased. So one way I can do it, and indeed the way I have attempted to do it for ARMs to some success but not great success, is I can choose to hit export to HTML web page, and what that will do is it will try and break it up into a web page. Now I need Adobe Acrobat Pro to do that. I happen to have a full license for all of the very beautiful Adobe suite, so that lets me do that. It's not elegant, and the outputs are often a bit rubbish, and I'll show you an example of the outputs so you can see what I'm talking about. If I go to a RAM, and if I go to, so this is it, the files, you can see what's happened is it's created a whole bunch of image files, some of which are great. Exhibit A, and sorry, it's opened up on the wrong screen. Looks awesome, and it's really efficient because it's saving it for web. Less great, example, that bit's beautiful, don't really need anything else. So I'd have to go back and edit it, which in effect is the same as copying and pasting and doing all the other things. So that's option A, is to use Adobe to do the job. Option B, which is actually the more elegant of the two others, well, the lesser of the two other solutions, is if you've got a full access to Photoshop, and or I assume Affinity can do the same thing, you can actually open a PDF directly into the product. So I will show you what I've done. I'll use the first edition of the One Ring. I'm planning to run a whole stack of One Ring stuff next year. I'm going to be using a lot of the first edition material, but using the second edition rules. I have ownership of all of these things. I have paid for them. And yeah, so I can open it. And what will happen is I'll get a pop-up any second now. It'll take a moment because it's a very big file, which gives me all of the images. I also can have a page view, which is kind of cute. I've never used it. I imagine it could be useful if you wanted to put journal entries in around particular topics. Not my bag though, and not what we're here to do. So if I go to image and I click on a number of images, and it's the classic control-click story. If I want to use that one, I might want to use that one. Let's use that one as well. Let's get it up to sort of, and we'll grab a few of those. I don't know why, just because I can. Oh, it's a map. Love a good map. Let's grab some people chatting to each other. Someone, crawling through the forest. Beautiful mountain scene. A bit of a line sketch drawing. Looks like could be a heroic culture. Looks like it could be another heroic culture. I might grab those. I am recreating some of these heroic cultures. So I'll grab those as well. And we'll get up to, let's say, 25. Oh, one more to go. This person here. Beautiful. Now if I hit OK, they will all open up in Photoshop beautifully and be ready to rock and roll. And it'll take a lovely picture. Okay, so it just needs to finish processing, opening them all, which it's doing, and you can see it's selected them. The numbering mechanism that it's used is obviously all of those images, and if you remember when I was selecting them, there were a whole bunch of images I didn't want because they're like the graphic images for delineating text and putting text box around things, so we don't do that. Okay, So I have an image. That's beautiful. One option, which is the easy option, is to go to Image Processor, which of course opens in the wrong screen. Let me open it over here. And I can use all the open images, or I can select a folder. I can choose to save the outputs to a new one, and I'm happy with demo, and I can choose to save them as JPEGs of a certain quality. Now, if I hit run at this point, it will fail. The reason it fails is because it actually has to operate off a PSD file that's been, the script's running against the PSD file itself. There's no instance of the PSD file saved yet. I've just opened them up for the first time in Photoshop. So what I would have to do, and I'm not going to, but I'll tell you how you do it, is close all is probably the quickest way to do it. Save them all to a location as PSDs, and then I could run the script by pointing it at the folder that I've put all of those images in. And if I went back and I went, I'm ready to run now, it would then, and once again it's opened in the wrong display, my apologies, I could then point it at the open images if I opened them all up again, or I could literally just select the folder where I put them, and it would run very merrily in the background and generate a whole stack of JPEGs of a certain quality, nice and efficient and fast, and actually a pretty good answer. I wanted to save them as WebP, however, so to do that, I have a plugin. I have the WebP plugin. It's the most efficient form of saving so far, and I need my actions menu up, so I've just closed it. So let's open that up again. Hello, actions menu. There you are. As you can see, I've been doing this a few times. I can create an action. I've got this folder which I created earlier, so we could go all the way back to creating a new folder. We can call this new action 2. Yay. And that'll create a new action. Then to create the actual actions themselves, I'm going to do this. I hit that. This will set up the structure. Then I'm going to record my actions. So let's call this Save Me Again. Okay, that's awesome. We've got it under New Action 2, which is where it should be. We're now recording everything we do. You see that little red button has come up. That means every click of the mouse that I do now will be recorded. Now, sometimes it opens up as CYMK. CYMK can't be stored by CMYK, sorry, can't be converted into WebP. It needs to be RGB. So at the moment, I'm good because it's an RGB. If I was CMYK, I would actually record changing that. And so that's what I'm actually going to do. I'm going to say, I'm updating that to be 32-bit for no apparent reason. That's worked. And then I can go File. Then I hit Save As. I'm going to save it as a WebP. I want to keep this color profile. That's really important, or else it turns into a horrible dark mess. I hit Save. I want to choose a location for that save. It doesn't really matter because I'm going to override folders when I run the batch process. But for the sake of simplicity and just to make sure that we're not wasting our time, we'll put it in this folder here. And we will create a new folder and we will call that image. Thank you. Okay, so that's done. Put that in there. Now it's going to save that one in there, which is great. Okay, so it is now going to give me this pop-up box. I can sort of have a look at the color quality. That looks pretty nice. You'll note that it's got keep color profile. It's a 262 kilobyte file. If I turn on XMP, which I don't even know what it does, it turns it into a giant file. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to keep that color profile. If I can undo it. Yes, it's undone. It's saving at lossless 75. I don't change any of these settings. There's really no need. And then I hit OK. Now, that file has been saved to that location. So if we go back to that location, and hopefully we just open straight up. Nope, we don't. And we go in here and we go into images. There she is, already saved. Awesome. Now, what else do I want to do? I actually want to close this. And the reason for that is it ends the action. And also, if you don't, when you run the batch process, you get asked to close every file. What would you like to do before I save the next one? So close it. All right, so I'm just going to close that and it goes awesome. Then I'm going to stop recording. Okay, so that's my action set, right? Save me again. I'm going to convert it to make sure that it's the right color setting. I'm going to save it and I'm going to close it. Now, if you're opening everything up as RGB, you don't need that convert mode bit at the beginning that I did. You can just go with save and close and it'll save and close. Now, it's opened up to the next one, but I want to not have to do this for everything. So I hit batch. It's got sources open files. I can also choose a folder, but open files is what I want because I haven't saved them. Remember, this is the version where I don't have to save them ahead of time. I'm going to say I've got a destination. However, I'm going to choose a different one. I am actually going to save them back to that downloads. I am going to save them back to One Ring. I'm going to save them in the images one here. That's all selected. I've already set up a slightly different naming convention. So One Ring Core. I've got a 2-digit. That's probably not going to be enough. I might put in 3 just in case for the future reference. So it'll start at 011. That's what it'll look like. As you can see, I'm overriding that save as command with the folder location. So if I didn't do that, it would recall what I had saved it into in a folder and I wouldn't be able to reuse the action repeatedly. So do this even if, no matter what. Once you've created this action, you can use it for any image. Now, what I do is I hit OK and she'll run. And this will just go, it goes pretty fast, as you can see. It's working hard. It's pretty good. I'll save it. Okay, so that 25 images took about a minute to process, and I now have 25 images ready to upload. As you can see, they all look really good, and they are small as hell. So let's just pick on a winner. 164 kilobytes. Let's pick on something else like this one here, really pretty. 523 kilobytes. So these are really small files now. And I could probably go back and resave them and make them even smaller, but for now we are more than content with what we have. And then all you have to do is go into your Foundry instance. I'm using Forge, so I don't know what a private local version of Foundry looks like, so apologies if it's different. If I go into the One Ring, I'm going to create a new folder, which I'm going to make big so that I can do that. And I'm going to call that Core. And create that folder. It's going to hold all of the digital assets that I want. And then I'm going to upload those assets. From here, I'm going to browse to the necessary images. As you can see, I've also done it for some Versen materials. Although I should point out, and it's a really important point, Free League are now investing heavily in this space. So actually, I'm doing it for the older material, but it is going to not be required for everything but the One Ring, which of course is password protected, so I can't do the extraction I just showed you. So it's, good old cut and paste, or do that web creation version, which does give you some of the images out of the core books really nicely. Okay, sorry. So if I go back to the One Ring, go in here, go into images, then I go Control A, I select them all, I open them, I'm going to upload all 25 files, and that will take all of about another minute, maybe even less, and then we will be done. Once again, like I said, took about 40 seconds maybe to do the lot. So now I hit done, and there you are. All those assets are now ready to use in my Versen instance. I can draw on them for journals. I can, upload maps. I can do lots of things like that. So I've done the same thing for, what's a good example? The Heart of the Wild. No. And we've got all of these in here as well, looking very elegant and beautiful. Okay, that's it. Thank you.